Oh, wow, wow.
Yes, I know. And it's like every time I said it, he kept going.
Go ahead, Kitty. Go ahead.
Do you not like the UFC?
Don't enjoy it as much as I do wrestling, but I don't find it as fake as like WWE to be. So I mean, I'll watch it. It's pretty fun to watch people actually bleed in the sport
Well, so I was about to
and
say
not
it's not.
cry
It's
about
not
it.
fake.
Internet.
Like it's not fake.
Yeah, no, it's real. That blood's pretty real. I mean,
Yeah.
it's cool, but I don't enjoy it.
You don't enjoy what?
You don't enjoy watching
UFC?
Ronda Rousey?
Why don't you enjoy UFC?
I mean, yeah, it's just not. I don't know. I don't know. I just don't
Ronda
like it as much as
Rousey,
wrestling.
the,
I don't
the
love
most
it.
badass chick in the world.
Why is she badass? Who is this?
Watch any of her fights. Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
Go
Is this
watch
the chick out of
Ashley
that
Evans
ball
Smith. She was fantastic when I was on the wrestling team in high school with her, and now she's doing women's UFC. And she actually just beat the shit out of somebody the other day who is actually a tranny. So he is now a she, and so she kicked her ass.
Was that Cyborg?
I don't know.
That is really controversial that they're even letting her fight. Or at
So that was the whole
because-
thing, and Ashley was kind of just like, well, I grew up beating boys, and I fight girls now, so I have absolutely no problem. Like, a fight is a fight. That's just what it is. So bring it
Yeah.
on, you know?
Well, the person that changed didn't tell anybody at first. So she was beating the shit out of other girls because she still had the bone structure of a man, without anybody knowing that she had changed her sexuality. So that was the
It's
whole.
another ridiculous night as my round table joins me, Ben, the Riddickulous Rick, and rants concerning the nerd culture of yesterday and today. Joining me at my round table to discuss the effects of fanboyism on nerd culture is the always lovely Nikki, the powerful Powell.
Hi.
Run, run, run as fast as you can. You can't catch him. He's the gingerbeard man, Kenny Haynes.
Hi.
And guess what? He's not dead. Over in Capelli's corner, James Capelli.
Hello, I'm alive, sort of.
In his stupid ass hat. That's right. I found a way to say ass hat and make sense. No one finds that funny.
Nope.
No, Ben. No one finds
Okay.
you funny.
Fine. How's everyone doing this evening?
Pretty good. I found that funny, James.
I miss my hat.
You miss your hat? Put your hat back on. I'm not stopping you from wearing it.
No, it's.
No, I am. I'm stopping you because it was bad.
But
Just because you have
hats-
no taste in fashion is not my fault.
You're
Okay.
right. Nikki does not have any taste in fashion.
None
Nope.
whatsoever.
So as
Okay.
everyone knows, this show begins with a segment that we like to call What Are You Doing With Your Life? The segment where we talk about the nerdy things that we've been doing over the last week. James, we've missed you so much.
I know.
We've missed you dearly, and
Have
I'm so
we?
glad you're back. We have, Nikki. Shut up. Just so you know, real quick, say hello, listeners.
Hello, listeners.
Hello, listeners.
At Jushin on Twitter says, "Awesome hat, Sir Capelli."
That's why Justin's one of my favorites.
We're gonna have
Just
to
gotta throw that
think
out there.
about that.
And like my top 10,000 people I know, he's in there.
James, do you get out of your house enough to know 10,000 people?
I mean, to interact with more than 10,000 people, yes. To get to know them, no.
Okay. Just making sure.
So you mean when you say interact with 10,000 people, like anybody living in a large city walking outside for an hour?
No, I mean, I work at a
Interact.
restaurant. I deal with at least 100 people a day.
Okay.
That is a good point. And you deal with the good, the bad, and the ugly.
No, Kenny hasn't come in a long time.
Damn.
You know you love this beard.
That was...
I had to copy it, Kenny.
I feel like he's trying to overcompensate
Is that
for some hidden
copy?
emotions for Kenny that he's got. I mean, that's.
Hey James, after the
Yeah.
podcast.
I got you.
Anyways, James,
One.
what have you been doing with your life?
Well, I'm still going through Game of Thrones. That's nothing new. I started listening to a new audiobook called Ready Player One. You ever heard of that?
I have. I believe I recommended that book to you 2 or 3 times in the past, actually. I can find the tweets. I can find the messages.
Do it, because I do not recall you ever telling me about this. I'm listening to because my brother told me about it, and his synopsis was short, and it was like, wow, that sounds awesome. Anyways, I'm almost halfway through it. It's really, really good.
That's what the movie Gamer was based on.
Was it? That doesn't surprise me. No. Well, anyways, as a quick synopsis for our listeners, it's basically imagine Second Life, the game, but it's like it uses virtual realities, visors and gloves to do stuff. So it's super immersive. The economy goes to shit, so everybody like goes to this virtual world to escape. And when the guy who makes it dies, he sends a video to everybody, and then like all the news and everything is saying, "All right, I hid an Easter egg somewhere in the game. Whoever finds it first gets my fortune."
Delicious.
And he was super into like 80s stuff, so everybody's like researching all of 80s movies. So everything 80s is now popular again. So it's pretty cool. I love the premise of everything, and it's going really well. So
it is a very good book.
It is.
And just so you know, if you go to www.audibletrial.com/ridiculous, RIDDICKULOUS, you could get Ready Player One for free.
Good to know.
Yeah.
So let's see. Since the last time I was on, I played and beat Transistor. Definitely one of my favorite indie games of all time. Great action game.
I do want to play that game.
It's really good. Did you ever play Bastion?
I did.
Okay, so you know how like there's a lot of diversity with all the weapons and stuff that you can use? Like you get a bunch of weapons, you pick 2 of them to kind of... Well, this game does something similar, but does it way better.
Ooh.
So I'd go into...
I have a feeling that will eventually be a free PlayStation Plus game.
Probably.
So I'm waiting on that one.
Yeah, and there's very few games where I'd say if you can't get it for free, you don't need to wait. Anyways, so I've also been playing Divinity: Original Sin, which is the new turn-based RPG, kind of like old school, like Baldur's Gate and stuff like that. That's really good. Huge game.
So I'm not gonna lie. I heard you say Baldur's Gate.
Baldur's. B-A-L.
Yeah. I realized that afterwards, but all I could imagine you saying was Baldur's Gate.
Everybody knows that classic '90s game, Baldur's Gate.
Yep. It's the best game of all time.
But I'm doing other things here and there, but to move things along, that's the main gist of it. That's the big things I'm still doing.
Those are some big things.
I do that or I go home. So.
Hey, Kenny.
Yes.
What do you think Nikki's been doing with her life?
I don't know. Maybe you should ask her.
Well, no, I feel like this would be a fun game. Let's try to figure out what Nikki's been doing with her life without her telling us.
Okay, so Nikki has been the past week obtaining more trophies than you.
Hot damn.
Something tells me that
or have I been achieving more towards my goal of getting a platinum, or not platinum, of my resolutions than Ben?
I mean, that could be another way to phrase that. That would be my guess. If we're playing a guessing game, that's what I would pick.
if I had to.
Nikki, what have you been doing with your life?
I've been working a lot at my new job, and when I have time, I've been finishing Dead Space 2, and I finally beat it yesterday.
Woohoo! What'd you think?
So, I really like Dead Space, and I really like this last game, but I have to tell you, the last little chapter of it, little 15, it's basically a straight shot to the ending, is the biggest fuck up of an ending I've ever seen in my life. So there will be no spoilers. I will not tell you. But
good, because that game came out like 6 years ago.
I'm just saying, for those of you who haven't, like, I'm not going to spoil it, which is not that big of a spoiler. You see the whole ending coming from a mile away. Well, so I get to chapter 15, right? And I save. I'm like, all right, cool, just start chapter 15. And you go through the inside of this building, and it's corner, tons and tons of bad guys. And right before they send you through there, they give you the option of which you're going to take to fill up on all your stock, to upgrade as much as you possibly can, and to save, right? So I bought as much ammo as I possibly could. I sold anything I didn't need. I completely jam-packed my entire, slots, all my slots, with all the ammo in life I could need. Well, I went through...
Wait. I'm going to stop you right there. Nikki.
Yes?
You jammed up.
I already said it. I already said that's what she said.
Oh, okay. I missed it.
I got it in there quickly and
Okay,
pause.
yes, that is what I said. Anyway.
You hear that? Penny gets in there quickly.
Whatever. So, you go through and you beat all these guys, and it's a lot of guys. And in this mix of bad guys, they throw in... Stop looking at me like that. They throw in this immortal necromorph that you can chop his legs and arms off and then freeze him, but then once you go to the next room, he pops back up. He keeps, like, coming through the vents, and he's just there the entire time, so it's this big pain in the ass you have to deal with. And you get to the very end, and there's a save spot. Well, I'm completely out of ammo, except for maybe a clip, and I save it, and I'm like, fuck it, I'll be able to, you know, get more in the next one. They're going to give you another chance.
No.
They don't.
Oh, no, Nikki.
No, they don't. So you go through, and there's one more necromorph you have to deal with for 2 more doors. And I emptied my clip on him, and I got to the end, and I'm like, oh, cutscene, perfect. And then it's not a cutscene. You probably need about 6 clips to beat the last boss, and I was out. So I spent, like, 40 minutes trying to deal with the last boss with, like, 20 shots of ammo left, and saying fuck every 5 minutes, and then I'm like, you know what, maybe I can go backwards and go back to this spot. And you can, but with, you know, as many shots as I had, you can't get past the other bad guys that I had run past, because I was like, fuck it, I'm not dealing with them, I'm going to run door through door through door, and I did, and all this ammo's lying on the ground and I can't get to it. So I finally, after quite a few hours of bitching and complaining and getting really, really pissed off at this game and almost not going to finish it, I changed the mode to easy, which breaks my heart.
Aww.
But instead of 20 rounds going into a guy, it only took 2. Yeah, I know. It only took 2 to go through those bad guys. So I got through them, went back, filled up on ammo, and then beat the game. But it was very, very frustrating. It's not fair. A game should not be done like that. You should not be putting a save spot after you've just beat 50 enemies and have run out of ammo. Like, whoever made the very last level of that game needs to be bitch slapped, because that's just not, that's not okay with me at all. And not even putting a little bit of ammo, just a few little clips, that's all I'm asking for. Nope, nothing. You get nada. And I searched every door, believe me. So that's
I do believe you.
For the difficulty?
Huh?
You didn't get the trophy for the hardest difficulty?
Well, I wasn't playing on hardest difficulty. I only play on normal. I'm not going to put it on hard on purpose. I am a wuss. I play for the story. I don't play for it being, you know, crazy hard.
So you're saying story in video games matters?
Oh,
I've said that. I've said that before.
Wait,
no, I'm not saying you did. I'm just driving that point.
Yeah,
driving that point home.
What about that?
And it was a great story, but you don't piss off, you know, your players at the very end. But that's another story.
Kenny?
Yes, man?
I'm sure you've been doing interesting things with your life.
I'm always doing interesting things in my life.
And I hope it's not as dreadfully boring as the things Nikki's doing with her life.
I always find the things that I'm doing interesting. Like, one of the things is teaching you how to play Dota.
Yeah, that has been happening this last week.
It has, and it's kind of entertaining, especially the game that we played last night.
Yeah.
Where I was sitting there, I'm like, you know what? Because let me preface this: is before we started, I said, do you want to play a regular game, or do you want to play another game versus bots? And your answer to that was, I think I need just one more game with bots. I'm like, okay, so if you only need one more game with bots, then I'm going to play like I normally play in the game, which was a lot of fun for me because as a support character, I was able to really rank up the kills. It was awesome.
So I was doing some research. I think I found a couple other characters that I want to try.
Who are they?
That I wrote them down. I just can't find where I wrote them down.
Oh, Jesus, man. You can't
It's
remember
not that
any of the
important.
games.
Dead Air Alive.
There's so many freaking characters.
As long as it's not Warlock, guy's mine.
It's not Warlock, Kenny. Don't worry.
Mine.
But
yeah, I've been playing lots of Dota this past week.
What's your
That's
main
about
role?
it.
What?
Well, I usually play support. I'm usually Warlock.
Got it.
Either Warlock or I go with Witch Doctor.
Okay.
which
It's
one
fun
was that
stuff.
spider thing that you used?
I forget his name. I don't really play him.
I just remember that character being hilarious with Matt Pye
Yes.
not being able
Yeah.
to find you at all.
Shout out to my friend Matt Pye out there.
Yeah, because
Yes.
I'm sure he watches the show, because
No.
that's what all the cool kids do, like you, my favorite listeners.
Oh, I thought you were talking about me. No.
You're okay too. Anything else interesting that you're doing with your life, Kenny?
No, not yet. That's about it. Keep mine nice and short.
Thank
since
you.
it's 15 minutes in.
Yeah, and Nikki spent a lot of time talking about her Dead Space.
You asked.
You're right, I did ask. It got really dark in the room you're in all of a sudden, Nikki.
Yeah, there's not light in here, so deal with it.
It's all good. I was just saying that I'm kind of worried that all of a sudden an axe murderer is going to come up behind you and it's going to be on video.
Sorry, that'll boost our ratings when we post
Yep.
it on YouTube.
Yeah, I think. Well, we'll get it because it'll get on the news and all that stuff. So that would be huge hits.
Yeah. So, I've been not doing that much, other than I started playing Dota, which Kenny already mentioned. I have found that I suck at Dota.
You're gonna keep
Yes.
sucking for a while.
As everybody does when they first start out.
Yeah. But I did find
But
a really awesome article online that says, "Welcome to..." the title of the article is called "Welcome to Dota, You Suck."
Yep.
And I've started reading through this article, and it's actually really helpful. 10 times more helpful than Kenny trying to teach me this game.
Well, I mean, whatever.
I'm just kidding, Kenny.
rock
I do
solid comeback, Kenny.
You're a
Rock
jerk. Well, I mean, when you
I-
expect to be nice and try and help a friend out, you don't expect to get slapped in the face with it. But whatever, it's okay.
I do appreciate all the help that you have been giving me.
solid.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually been pretty good because it tells me all the characters that I should avoid. It tells me the characters I should try if I'm new. None of which were characters that you guys had recommended.
I
By the
mean,
way,
yeah,
Venom
you also talk to everybody that plays, and they'll recommend different characters for people starting out.
That's true, I guess.
You can't
But
go
here's
off
the
with
thing.
one person.
That is a game where while I'm playing it, I hate it.
Yep.
Like, I hate the game while I play it. And then I stop playing it, I'm like, I kind of want to play it more.
Yeah. It's a snowball. It just gets really addictive, and the more you lose, the more you want to play because you just want to win a game.
Yeah, that's kind of how I've been feeling. But, yeah, other than that, it's been pretty quiet. Oh, I took, Lee and I went to our first Up at Noon at IGN together. Absolutely hilarious. Definitely, if you're listening to this through iTunes, youtube.com/start, I think is where Up at Noon plays. Maybe? Ish? Kind of. So definitely watch this one. There's some good fan fictions to be had. But yeah, that was my week in short. So let's get on to the topic at hand.
All right, that thing.
Today we are talking about fanboyism. Now let me kind of elaborate on this a little more. With every piece of nerd culture, you have fanboys. Whether it be the console wars, Sony versus Microsoft versus Nintendo versus PC, or whether it be comics, Marvel versus DC, or even the computers and technology that we use. There's apples, oranges,
Bananas.
bananas.
I use oranges for my Facebook.
Yeah, of course. It's the best.
I use bananas. Come on.
Nice.
I use
That's what she
dragon
said.
fruit. Nice one, Nikki. That was good.
You're welcome.
But so fanboyism is present everywhere. So my first question to my round table tonight is: are you a fanboy? And if you are, what are you a fanboy of? James, I'm going to start with you,
Yay.
Mr. Capelli, over in your corner there.
Totally my name. Yes, I would say I am. I try to be level-headed about it, but I'm almost always going to promote PC and bash Apple.
Okay.
Those are like my staples. Like I've been a fanboy of Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo at different stages of my life, and I just feel like PC is the superior one, and I'm not gonna shove it down
Would
your
you
throat.
say it's the master race?
No.
Oh.
You can't compare video game consoles to PC because PC can do a lot more beyond gaming.
Oh, are you talking gaming wise?
Gaming wise,
Are you? Well, that's.
I would say it is the master race, and here's why. As far as technology goes, being able to update everything, it costs money, of course, and that's the big downside to PC. But the upside is that, and almost any game you can think of, the mods can do anything. So, like, namely Skyrim, big fan base on that. On PC, you can do some crazy shit, such as turning dragons into Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yes, I've seen that.
So,
And you get train souls acquired instead of dragon souls, and it's the best thing ever.
and it's extremely more terrifying just be walking around, and in the distance you just hear toot toot. So that's a small reason of why I'm a PC fanboy.
So, real quickly, I want you to convince me to not get Apple and get a PC in 30 seconds.
Are you rich? Can you buy anything you want whenever you want?
No.
That was scary as hell. Oh, it's like he's gearing up to cough, and there's just nothing. Anyways,
There's a
Ben,
wonderful button on my microphone. It mutes
so you don't
when
have
I
to
do
cough.
things like that, so I
But
can
my
cough.
question: Are you rich? Can you buy whatever you want whenever you want?
No, I can't, James.
So you're telling me you need to be kind of smart with your money. So
I do
rather
need to
than
be.
go out and buy a Mac for I don't know how much they're going for, and there's all sorts of models. Basically, let's just say you choose to buy a $1,000 MacBook. Fine.
Mhm.
You could get the hardware equivalent at half the price for a PC, and if you really like Mac, you can then buy a Mac OS, boot it up on your laptop, save yourself hundreds of dollars. And then you can upgrade a tower if you would rather get a stationary thing, or you can get a really good laptop. 30 seconds. There you go.
Good point, James. I appreciate your argument. Kenny,
Yes.
are you a fanboy?
So I don't like that question as its basis, because what I'll say is everybody will always be a fanboy of something at some point in their lives.
Except for Nikki.
It's
She's a
okay.
Nikki has
Well,
been a fanboy, guys. Let's be honest.
But it's how you look at it, and if you can rationalize. These are the reasons why I like this product more than another, but I can see why other people use a particular product. I myself,
So you're a rational fanboy, is pretty much what you're saying.
I would say I'm a rational fanboy. Like, I am a bigger proponent to Apple, but I don't bash PC as a whole.
You have one of each.
I have one of each because I know I'm not going to game on my Apple. Like, I do sometimes if I have to, but I would much rather game on a PC. But if I need to
game on a Mac, you can play Dota on a Mac.
You can, and I have. It's just that I'd prefer to do it on a PC because of the type of graphics cards that you can upgrade, certain things that allow you to do that. But if I want to I used to do editing in school. And if I change jobs, I'll be able to do that again. There are many programs on Apple that is a lot more friendly and a lot more intuitive and just overall better for other applications. So it's what you're using the product for. You can say that about any product back and forth, depending on what you're using it for, is what product you're going to like more. So, and then that's what causes fanboyism. The fanboyism isn't bad. I would say being just blindly being a fanboy is. So if that makes sense, and why I feel like, yes, I'm a fanboy, but I can look at everything rationally and understand why other people use other products.
Look at Kenny on his high horse, being able to see and understand everything.
I try. I try.
It's that beard. That beard is knowledge. Somebody needs to cut it off, otherwise he's just going to gain too much.
Stay away. Stay away. This is my soul catcher.
Sorry, Kenny. He's on the other side. He can't get you.
It's my soul catcher. Stay away.
But that would imply you have souls and are a ginger.
That's right.
He catches other souls. Other people's.
Ron is fast. Okay,
The
makes
hair in
sense.
my
I got
head.
it.
Yeah.
We're
There
good.
you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Nikki,
Uh-huh.
you know, I've been making fun of you a lot today. And I'm really sorry.
Is that any different than usual?
Well, I mean, I've been a little more harsh on you than I usually am, and I apologize about that.
That's
So
fine.
I really want to
I'll
know.
just get back at you.
I won't buy it.
And that's really easy to do.
Are you a fanboy?
I used to be a hardcore fanboy for PlayStation, but over the years I've realized, as Kenny said, there are specific reasons why different people like different things and why there are many choices for different people. So, well, in my love for PlayStation, I understand why other people like the wrong thing, but I respect their I respect their opinion. I just won't promote it. Like, I completely disagree with James. If I'm going to spend a big old chunk of money on something, I'm going to spend a big chunk of money on something that actually lasts for a long time. I have the HP, and I sent it in every single year and had to spend $150 every single year for the same problem. So over time, chances are, I had it for 7 years. I paid $650 when I first bought it. I probably spent the same amount of money over that course of time than I have since I've bought my Mac. And I bought my Mac with the 3-year extended warranty for $2,100. And
Wow.
in 3 years, I have had 0 problems with it. Knock on wood.
You bought into their return policy for 3 years. B,
I
if you
did.
ever spent that much money on a laptop, you're either treating it wrong or bought a crappy model. I've had my Toshiba for 6 years now, have spent 0 extra money on it because it's a good product and I took care of it.
I only used it for school projects, and that was it. I swear to God, I never used it for anything else. I didn't game on it. I didn't do music on it. No, I didn't.
So this
I bought a perfectly good brand new one.
This is a different kind of argument, and that is a hardware problem. So no matter what, James, so you might have found a PC that works well for a long period of time. The problem with PCs is that they're flooded the market with so many different kinds that many of them do break down. Whereas when you buy something,
he's
from
on his
Apple,
high horse with his beard of knowledge.
Yes,
I would never take him down. I wouldn't.
As when you buy Apple, you know you're getting that same product every time. So that
And
I think
it is what it is, and you can take
dealt
it
with
to
so
that
many
specific
people who
place, and
bought
people know
MacBooks.
how to fix it.
And in a year, their MacBook was trash.
Then they did something wrong.
But they claim they
Because
didn't, just like you're saying.
I've done 20,000 more things on my MacBook since I've gotten it than I ever have on my PC, and my PC sucked so bad, so bad. I had to deal with it. It's with my own money.
Laptop and one example of a good one, or a good MacBook. Whereas I have experienced a lot of laptops and a lot of MacBooks. There are good MacBooks. There are MacBooks that break and people don't know how to fix them. And rather than, oh, well, I could try to fix this, just no, I'll go spend another $2,000 on Apple.
Well, then that's the kind of person that has the money to spend. I didn't have the money to spend $150 every year to fix this, but I had the money at the time to spend this chunk of money on something good and reliable that I know that would work, that made me an Apple fanboy. I will never go back to HP, and I will shit talk them as much as I can, because Apple products are fantastic. So while I understand that you like a PC to do what you like to do, I think that Apple is the better product, therefore I am an Apple fanboy now. It has changed me. And that's what I think.
But you're not even giving you're not giving a chance to another side of an argument. Which it's fine that you like Apple. Like, I don't think you should, but if you do, that's fine. It's not my decision to make for you. But that's the whole point of fanboyism, is when you have one bad experience with something else, and you're like, fine, it sucks, I'll never give it another shot, and I'll never listen to an argument for why.
No, because I've given something else a chance. I've given something else a chance, and I don't have to give HP a chance again, because my Apple hasn't failed on me yet.
Terrible. And if you did any research on laptops, you would know to never buy an HP product.
Oh, please, because when I'm 15, I totally take a look at all of that. Yes, exactly what I do. I spend all my time looking up information on laptops.
Money, or especially if it's your own money, yeah, I would hope that you're researching wisely what you're buying. I don't care how old you are.
Do teenagers ever research anything? No. So I bought something. It was shit. I bought something else, and it's fantastic. I will never, ever go back.
Not only is your one bad experience one experience, it's from when you were 15, and that's what you're basing this on? Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah, because 7 years from 15. It all happened when I was 15.
In this podcast tonight. So
do you not know how time frames work?
And use strange time series examples. 10 years ago, my laptop sucked. Therefore, I'm going to be an Apple enthusiast forever.
And then every year for the 7 years after that, it sucked. After I spent $150 to get it repaired, and they're like, "Oh, it's fine now." No, it's not. It's not fine.
For a quick second.
Go for it.
Just quickly, I want to summarize essentially what's happened to Nikki. So Nikki had a bad experience with a PC.
10 years ago.
After that bad experience,
oh, Jesus.
she got herself a Mac to try a different computer. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. 3 years ago, I bought a Mac, which means there was more than.
Hey. I'm talking now.
He's not working against you. He's not working against you.
Since then,
he's working against you, James.
So you switched from a PC to a Mac.
Uh-huh.
You have not had any issue with your Mac since you purchased it.
Nope.
So there's the point that she's trying to get to. She tried a different computer. I'm sure if she had tried the Mac and it also had died after a year, she probably would have done research into another computer. Possibly Mac, possibly PC. But the point is that it hasn't happened yet.
No matter even if she chooses to eventually get a different, better Mac, or decides, I'll shut James up and give this PC a try just to show that he is wrong, no matter what she does, she's going to research it now. Because she understands that researching for this kind of money is an important thing to do.
And I did research when I bought my Mac. I said, I went out on Twitter and I'm asking my friends, what's good, what's bad, what do you think? And all I got back was Mac. Get a Mac. If you're not using it for gaming, get a Mac. I don't like gaming on my PC. It's clunky and it's weird. I don't like it. That's what I have my PlayStation for. So I bought a fantastic computer.
PC, but...
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean...
That's my problem.
Look, I will be... So, I am a fanboy. I am a console gaming fanboy. I will fight tooth and nail that console gaming is better, in my opinion, just because I buy a system, it lasts me for 10 years, I don't have to change anything about it. Whereas buying a PC, it's more of a time investment. Not that it's necessarily more of a money investment, which it kind of is, but I don't have the patience to deal with that kind of thing. I want something to just work right out of the box, and that be that.
You could also think of it as like a hobby investment too, because it's something that people like doing is upgrading their PCs.
Absolutely. And yeah. I also understand, how gorgeous and amazing games run on a PC, but that would require me to put in a lot more effort into gaming than I am willing to put in.
Wait, what do you mean a lot more effort?
Well, because I'd have to actually research on... Because if I were to PC game, Kenny, or James,
whoa,
I would
we both
need...
have beers.
40 and slip?
Yeah. I would need to have...
Your riches.
Or I would really want to have the best possible setup around. And that is a huge money investment. It's a huge research time investment for me to figure out everything that I'm going to need for the games that I'm going to want to play, and so on and so forth.
Okay, except there are lots of tools you can find you can just put in what you want to use it for, and it will do the research for you. Or you can ask me. I do a lot of PC stuff too. Or I know the guy who essentially built mine. Was like, here's a shopping cart of Newegg stuff. Just buy this. And
James,
I don't
we've
think
been
that's
friends
what that's not what Ben's
for
saying.
10 years now, right?
right?
Regardless of if you told me exactly what I needed to get, do you think I would not still go and do the research anyways?
That's fair.
And not only that, but okay, for that 10 years, if he had started PC gaming 10 years ago, would he then have had to update his hardware
Yeah.
in that 10 years?
Well,
So,
actually, it depends. If he wanted top of the line, 10
so
years ago,
but
top of the line
except,
stuff still
except
worked.
what you just said, what you just said was all you have to do is look at the game requirements, and that's what you have to buy for it. So if that's what a lot of people are doing because they can't afford to purchase parts that add up to $1,000, then and they're buying something that maybe a computer that they could put together for $400 or $500, then in 2 or 3 years they have to upgrade that computer, and in 2 or 3 years after that they have to update it again. So
If you want to keep top of the line always, then yes, that's what you have to do. But 3 years, you don't need to update for 3 years. I've had my current computer for 2. Have no plans to update anytime soon because everything I got wasn't top of the line. Still plays pretty much every game that's come out since then, top of the line, graphics and everything. And since I bought solid stuff, it's fine. I would rather spend 3 hours researching everything in one day to set myself up not just for a gaming rig, but for everything else I need it for. Work.
Okay, but you're talking two different things. What he was saying was all he has to do is buy one system that it will last him 10, 15 years, and he doesn't have to do anything to it. He doesn't have to worry about.
But it will, I still have my PS3. I probably got it 5 years ago. Now I can't get new games on it because it's outdated by Sony.
You can still get new games. No. Maybe not every new game, but you can still get new games.
And you also might have only had it for 5 years, but it's been out for a lot longer than that.
For like 7, yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm still playing games on my PlayStation. Go back and play games that aren't new. Play the old games that you haven't seen before,
Not only that, but if a game comes out for the PS3, and it comes out for the PS3 every new game, you don't have to worry about your system requirements on the PS3. But if a new game comes out on your PC, and all of a sudden you've got system requirements that are higher than what you've got, then boom, you already have to upgrade.
I see your point. I see your point. I know what you're saying. For a lot of people, that is the case. Another example I have is not just the computer I use now, but the laptop I've had for 6 years. Wasn't even close to top of the line when I got it 6 years ago. Could play all the games then. There's still not a game that's come out that doesn't work on it now. I can't play it at top of the line because it's a laptop and you can't upgrade it. But I got it at a great deal. 6 years later, it's still working great. And remember, I'm willing to spend more money on a laptop or a PC because it does more than a gaming, which then goes back to what you were saying before, is that it depends on what you're using it for. But would I rather use my PS4 to be a gamer streaming on Twitch, or would I rather use my computer? Well, I'd rather use my computer because Twitch is meant for a computer or for PC and stuff like that. And it's just more stable that way, more reliable to use it for that. So I'm willing to put in the time and the extra couple $100 to last me 5 or 6 years before. Okay, rather than buying a whole new system, I'm going to spend $150 to fix one thing that needs it.
So like a similar issue to people that find Apple a lot easier to buy because they'd rather put in that extra little money. I'm just saying.
Kenny, you could be onto something here.
Like Apple, especially if you use Apple, for a lot of the software that comes with, like GarageBand or Photoshop, stuff like that, I understand why people get it. And I'm not saying that Apple should never be purchased.
Are you understanding now why I use it and I get it?
Yeah, no, it's fine.
All right.
Yeah?
You bash PC after
James was never saying that Mac is a bad decision. He was just saying that
cost-wise,
that I'm a bad decision maker. That's fine.
No, that is what he was saying. That is what he was saying earlier. That
was it.
People only buy Apple because they haven't really done the research. Is essentially what James was saying.
A lot of people do. I'm not saying that's only what happens, but a lot of people do because, as Ben said, sometimes you want to get something that just works out of the box. And that's why Apple's successful, is because they kind of mainstream that process of, I want to spend time setting this up. I'm saying it's worth it to spend the research and the time to set things up and not spend all that extra money. But if that's what you want to do, fine. I don't think it's worth the money because of the experiences I had. I know Mac products that have crashed, failed, done terribly, like as a piece of hardware, and people will be like, "Oh, well, that's a fluke example," or it got one of those viruses that can somehow work on a MacBook, and they don't. It's just they don't care to learn more because it's a whole side of technology that they don't want. Which, again, like there are other things in life I know I do the same thing on. So I get it. If I would have spent the time on that, you know what I'm saying. And I'm just gonna keep repeating. Don't move on.
And you know what? I want to move on, but before we do, I want to call out to our listeners. Listeners, I want you to tweet at RiddickulousRT. If you're watching the live stream, you can see it right below my name here. It's at RiddickulousRT. What are you a fanboy of? I want to hear. I'll give you guys a few shout-outs on the show, but I want to hear what you are a fanboy of. And I want to move on to the next portion of my conversation, and that is fanboyism can be good and it can be bad. In the topic of gaming, there's a very big divide in what makes fanboyism good and bad. First off, the good is it's really good for the competition, as far as Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo having to compete to make the best systems out there to get the most of an audience gathered and to create the best kind of software to be friendly to games. So it's good in that sense. What I think makes fanboyism bad, though, is if you are a true fanboy, whether you be a PlayStation fanboy, a Microsoft fanboy, or a Nintendo fanboy, or even a PC fanboy, there are things that you miss out on. So, for example, when I made the switch from an Xbox 360 to the PlayStation 3, which is not a decision I ever regret, I loved that decision. One of the things that I said when I got rid of my 360 was, God damn, I don't know how I'm going to not play Mass Effect. Because I need to finish that story. Granted, I got lucky. Mass Effect came out on the PlayStation, and I didn't have to worry about it. But there was that legitimate fear that there is this great game that I know is absolutely amazing, and I'm going to miss it. So what I want to know from you guys is, what do you think are some of the positives and negatives of being a fanboy? Let me go ahead and start with Kenny.
Sure. Well, I mean,
because I have a feeling if we let James and Nikki talk right away, that Kenny and I will never be a part of this show again.
Oh, man.
Is that a problem, really? Come on.
This episode.
I mean, like, the positive things that you've kind of already highlighted it. Yeah, it creates competition. It pushes each company to continue developing. It also gives you very knowledgeable people in the field. So somebody that's a fanboy of Sony, if you can, I'm sure everybody knows one, or you can find one online probably writing articles about it. They're going to know more than the average person. So you'll be able to find out the positives of what each company is doing. It'll be a lot easier to find and easier to make your decision on. Yeah, and it kind of just sways your decision of what you're going to get. You're always going to be missing out on something. But what you're saying is, yes, the negative side is that you're missing out on something, but I think it's more that a true fanboy that just completely rejects the other side, it's not that they're missing out on what the other side's doing, it's that they don't even know what the other side is doing. They don't even know what the possibilities of what they're missing, so they can't actually make an informed opinion about what they actually would like, because they have no idea. At least you knew, going from the 360 to the PS3, what you're missing out and what you would be gaining from making that switch. People that are true fanboys don't even know that.
So what are you missing, Kenny?
What am I missing? I'd have to say, like, for making that switch, because for the listeners out there, Ben and I made the switch at the same time. We were both sick of the 360 for very similar reasons. I think I got the Red Ring of Death like 6 times, and within a year period, only had it in my possession for maybe 2 or 3 months. But gaming-wise, like I miss I miss Halo. Like, that was the first game I ever really played gaming-wise. That is what introduced me to the modern age day of gaming. Like, I had a PlayStation 1, and I played through all that, but multiplayer Halo was really the first of its kind. And so what's that?
Between Halo 2 and Rainbow Six 3, I think Kenny, James, and I could have an entire like nostalgia hour going on just about how many games of those we played.
Yeah.
What?
We can make that a 2-parter.
Yeah, we could. Absolutely.
So that's one really big thing that I miss from not having an Xbox. I also miss, I mean, there's also nostalgia to that, where I had an original Xbox, I had a 360, and making the switch to the PS4, PS3, I love the systems, but it's not what I really started out with when I first started playing games a lot. So it's just that past nostalgia stuff that you kind of miss. But I know what I'm missing. I always see what's coming out for that. I never regret it going to PlayStation, and that's what makes you a well-rounded, informed fanboy.
Right. Everyone say hello, listeners.
Hello, listeners.
Hello, listeners.
Hello, listeners.
At @Albull_88 says, I am a fanboy of the Metal Gear Solid series. I own at least 2 different versions of every game in that series and have played through all of them.
Jeez.
That's a pretty good thing to be a fanboy of.
Yeah, it is. It's a great game.
Yeah.
There are a lot worse and very few better series than MGS.
Yeah. So good.
But two versions of every game. I wonder if that's like just for the love of it, or is like, well, now it's on news. I can't play the old one. I have to get the new one now in order to experience it.
Probably.
And say hello, listeners, one more time.
Hello,
Listeners.
So I don't know how to say his Twitter name. I'm going to say Make5. That's MAIKV. I'm assuming that the V means 5, because that's the Roman numeral for 5, listeners, just in case you were wondering.
Wow.
No way.
I know, it's crazy.
I'm learning things tonight, too.
He says, I am a super fanboy of PlayStation and Apple, and I can intelligently defend myself to the grave.
Sounds like a fight for James.
Sounds like it. So, James, what do you think are some of the positives and negatives of fanboyism?
I want to reference E3 last year with the whole stuff with Xbox One and the always on and stuff like that. That was, I mean, whether or not that's positive or negative depends on you're thinking that Sony's changes were good or bad. But fanboyism is really what drove Microsoft to change a lot of the things that they had kind of announced.
Which is a bummer, because fanboys don't make up a huge majority of people.
But they're loud.
They're very loud.
If living in the real world has taught me anything, it's that the loud people will tend to get what they want. As a mass of people, the loud ones get what they want. If politics has taught me anything, it's that.
Yes.
That's why James always gets what he wants.
Anyways, so it was all the people who were like, "This is terrible, Sony. I've always loved, the 360 and stuff like that. Why would you change things?" And then it was Sony fanboys who were like, kind of laughing at the whole situation. And then, if you watch the Sony conference last year, all they had to do was get up on stage and being like, "Yeah, we're not those guys," and then they got a standing ovation. All right, so that was fanboyism helping Sony out.
Let's
also not forget that Sony did change quite a bit. For example, if you want to play online, you now have to pay.
Right, and
which was not a thing before. Not that the PlayStation Plus service is not absolutely amazing, because it is. But if you then look at that, and you look at what Microsoft has done to Sony and what Sony has done to Microsoft. They've been learning from each other since the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, the PlayStation was not a huge multiplayer console until Xbox Live came out.
Yeah.
And then Sony added it in, and it wasn't the best system.
Well, Sony had online on the PS2. It was just very awkward and very very difficult to use and very laggy. My friend,
And it felt added in.
yeah.
Like it was not the online experience that Xbox made right from the beginning.
Absolutely not. No, Microsoft knew they got that in.
But then Sony learned. Sony's like, okay, this is what people like. Let's fix it. And it took them a while. They had a very uphill battle going on that one with the what was it, $600 PS3 when it first came out, and then
networks were not good for a while.
Yeah, the network was not good for a while, and then let's not forget the great PlayStation outage.
Right.
Of
All
2010.
Like that.
Yeah. So I mean, Sony has learned a lot, and they've made a great online gaming community, and I will fight tooth and nail that that would not have happened if Xbox had not made Xbox Live.
It would be different. I'm sure online stuff would happen. I don't know if it would be nearly as good.
Right. And I mean, the same thing is true for PlayStation to Xbox. PlayStation announced this thing called PlayStation Plus, where you could pay $50 for a year, and initially, all that $50 got you were free games or discounts on games.
Right.
And you know, it worked out great
for your system.
Exactly, it worked out great. It came out with. It was another thing that was kind of a slow start, but then people started getting it. People started adopting it. They were telling their friends, and now it's something that everyone wants to have because you can get big AAA titles for free. And now what is Xbox doing? They're like, oh, well, we can do that too. For Gold members, we'll give you free games.
But I'm not really sure I'd call all that due to fanboyism. That's just good marketing. That's just competitive marketing.
No, I know, but if these two systems did not exist, and if these fanboys were not saying, oh, PlayStation's better because PlayStation Plus is better, or oh, Xbox is better because Xbox Live is better, these are still fanboys being loud enough for the companies to hear, okay, so these are what people like. These are the things people like.
And I think it's interesting when you compare Sony and Microsoft fanboys to Nintendo fanboys.
Nintendo fanboys don't care.
No, and I think that's the craziest thing, is if you ask a Nintendo fanboy like all about it, they're just like, dude, I just like Mario games because they're simple, fun, I can play them with my significant other easily, or my kid or my nephew or whatever, and it's simple. Oh, I hate Nintendo. Alright? And like that's so many of their mentalities. It's like I don't need the biggest best thing. I enjoy I know what I like. It's simple. Why do I gotta bother with everything else?
Look, I mean, Lee and I are still having a blast playing Mario Kart. Like, I don't think I think until the Wii U actually lights into flames and dies, we will continue playing that game. Because it is a fun game. I mean, and it's simple, like you said.
Yeah.
Well, we go for the Wii U. We go straight for it every time friends are over. I mean, as fun and as easy as Little Big Planet is, it's everyone knows Nintendo, and you know A and B and up and down, whatever. You know what these things are. And on the other consoles, you still do have to remind people, like, this is what this is and this is what this does. If you jump into Nintendo, you press 2 buttons, you know exactly what you're doing. So it's just the easiest thing to slide into with so many people. Yeah.
Throughout the entire, like, as much innovation as Nintendo has brought to gaming, they have, under it all, everything's the same. You have these buttons, this is how you play it, you're good. Real quick, James.
Yo.
Being that you only have one console and that you only play a limited amount of games, do you feel like you're missing out on anything?
I don't have one console.
Oh, okay. You have...
I have a PS3, a PS4, a 3DS, a Nintendo Wii U, and a PC.
Okay. Do you feel like you're missing anything on the Xbox?
No, I really don't. And that's because I got I felt like I was missing out with Nintendo, or I would be eventually, which is why I got a Wii U.
Oh, that's right. You just recently bought your Wii U.
Yeah, and I feel like when Halo comes out, if you guys get Xbox Ones and then get it, at that when you like start talking about how much fun you're having and all that, at that point, yeah, I'll be like, I wish I could. Or with the Crackdown game coming out, I'd be like, I wish I could, but like I'm willing to accept that they're not deal breaking losses for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, James, I'm not getting an Xbox for one game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there were several games that you were talking about getting.
Yeah, and they are exciting, but
You're not gonna do it.
probably not.
Okay. Then yeah. So I mean, when it comes to console gamers, you guys are really the only people I keep in touch with. So if you don't get something that's like multiplayer, then I don't really have a desire to get it either. You know. So there are a couple of Microsoft unique games that I'm missing out on, but it's like, well, they'll get over it. I got friends that are going to be getting them. If I really want to play that badly, they're willing to let me hang out with them.
Yeah.
For some
And
reason.
a lot of those games come out on PC, anyways, too.
And that's the big thing for PC is, if it comes out on a console, it's either going to come out on another one or PC.
Mhm.
So it's like I can get my fix. And on PC, more often you're going to get discounts, like with the Steam sale, with the Humble Bundle and stuff like that. So
I can't wait until the PlayStation Network, the Nintendo eShop, and the Microsoft Marketplace get to that point where they can have these great flash sales. By the way, if you're listening to this show, 99-cent flash sale on the PlayStation Network thing. There's some pretty good games on it. Just so you know.
yeah.
Nikki.
Yeah.
Real quick, round us out. What?
Pros and cons. Pros, I feel like I have a really good thing that I can love, being a fanboy of a certain thing or a kind of fanboy. Like, you have this thing that you love so much that you have so much patriotism-ish, I guess you could say, towards it, that, you can celebrate what it is, you can see something with the label on it, and you love it automatically. Like, I think that it's really cool to have something like that in your life that you love, no matter what. Cons, I do feel like I'm kind of missing out on Xbox stuff, but it's not so much the software that bothers me, it's the controller. I still just don't like it. So
Nikki, you can go out and buy a controller that's laid out exactly like a PlayStation controller.
I'm too lazy for that, and we don't have an Xbox One now anyway. We only have our 360, and there's not that much that I'm too worried about. There really isn't. Like, I mean, I've kind of wanted to give Halo a try, and I did a little bit with the controllers, and I might have not liked it because of the controller or just because I didn't really like it. That's about it.
I do want to play Titanfall. Titanfall looks good.
Yeah, it's like, see, that looks cool. But, I mean, there's not too many games out there that I'm too worried about missing so much stuff. I feel like I have enough on the console that I am to keep me busy. I just finished Dead Space, and I have no idea what I'm going to play next because I have so many options. It's,
Infamous 2.
We'll give it a few more years,
no.
and then we'll see where the games lie with the current gen.
What?
So we'll give it a few more years with the games coming out, and then we'll see where current gen lies.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, it's been an excellent show.
I'll say.
We've Kenny and I didn't have to do a lot of work at all. We just kind of...
Good.
It was great. For half an hour, we just sat back and watched Nikki and James argue.
We haven't done
that. It was
that.
beautiful.
I know, it's been so long.
know there was
He's
one
been
other
gone for
time
so
we
long,
had-
we had to get an argument in there.
What episode it was? Oh, it was the
It was
last
a while
time you were
ago.
arguing about Uncharted 3. That's what it was.
Oh, about how you were wrong. I remember that.
That's not.
Well, for
Guys,
next time.
this has been episode 35 of the Ridiculous Rants podcast. Remember to follow the podcast on Twitter at RidiculousRT. You can find James on Twitter at Ser_Capelli, Capelli. You can find Kenny on Twitter, Kenneth Scott H, at Kenneth Scott H. You can find Nikki on Twitter, on PSN, on pretty much everything on the internet at Harley Quinn 103. You can also find her on a fantastic show called The Lipstick Nerds that premieres every other week. And you can always find me on Twitter at Ben Riddick. This has been a wonderful episode, guys. You have anything else you want to throw in there? Good, because it has been a ridiculous night. And remember, you can't spell ridiculous without
Riddick.